what a midlife crisis looks like. My midlife crisis, or yours, or your spouse's, or somebody else that you know. What I wanted to cover in this video is detachment. This is a symptom of midlife crisis. Now, if you ask me, as somebody who has experienced and is currently experiencing a midlife crisis, detachment is probably, I would say, the most prominent symptom of a midlife crisis. So if you have somebody who's acting strangely all of a sudden in your life and you want to know if they're having a midlife crisis, I think one way that you could actually tell if it really is a midlife crisis is their attachment to things that they've always seemed to be attached to before. When I hit a midlife crisis, and a number of people that I spoke to that have been in a midlife crisis, when you hit that midlife crisis, things that you were very tightly attached to before you hit that wall, you become very unattached or very detached to these things. Now, if you're a spouse of somebody in a midlife crisis, this might sound kind of devastating, because it's quite possible that one of the things that a person who hits a midlife crisis might detach from is their significant other. It happens. Now, I don't want to put out any false hope for anybody, but it's also possible that they can come back around again. We become detached, like separate, and there's a number of different reasons why. But if we become detached from a particular person, I want you to make no mistake, it probably has absolutely nothing at all to do with that person. It has everything to do with the person who's experiencing the midlife crisis. We don't know why we suddenly become detached. We're trying to figure that out. Our life just exploded. We weren't ready for it. And when somebody's life explodes like that, when somebody hits a midlife crisis, the people that are closest to them, they get their life ripped right out too. Like the rug gets ripped right out from underneath you. So, and the detachment is probably one of the reasons why. But I feel like detaching is one of the most prominent symptoms. It's not having major cosmetic surgery. It's not buying a motorcycle, sports coat, or a big flashy boat. It's not leaving your spouse for somebody half your age. These are not the most prominent symptoms of a midlife crisis. They are definitely signs that somebody is experiencing a midlife crisis, but not everybody who has a midlife crisis will do some of these crazy things. But everybody I've spoke to so far that has hit a midlife crisis has had that detachment. They don't know why. The things that were important to them before, not all things, but a lot of the things that were important to them before are just no longer important. They just don't feel towards these things the way they did before. And they might not know why. It just happens. So if you're trying to figure out if you've hit a midlife crisis, or if somebody that you know has hit a midlife crisis, that might probably be the first question to try and answer. Have they suddenly become very detached to things that they previously were very attached to? Things that were once important really aren't important anymore. Things that were never important suddenly become important. Things that they were never attached to before, didn't care about before, now maybe they might have real attachment to that. It's a complete change. It's more than just psychological. It's more than just a flighty feeling. It's a life change, unfortunately. Personally, I think the best way to handle a midlife crisis is to go with it. But if that's what you choose to do, I just want to say, please don't, hurt anybody. Don't try and lie to anybody or anything at all like that about how you feel about things. Just be honest. That's I believe the least damage that we can do to our loved ones, including spouses, is to be just completely honest. Look, I don't know why I don't care. I just stopped caring. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe you can help me. I don't know. Or maybe you don't want your spouse to help. But just being honest, I think that honesty is the best policy. And if you hit a midlife crisis, shit, you don't care. Just be honest. So that's just one one little piece of information or experience that I wanted to share with everybody who has a question about it. I know that a number of people in my life had questioned that change in me all of a sudden, like, you're doing things you never did before, you're doing this and you never cared about that before, you're not doing this and you always do, and you're just being completely different. And I was being completely different. Big reason why is because I was no longer attached to the things that I was attached to before. I was detached, and you just can't fake it. I tried faking it, but my people were calling me out on it. So there it is. Detachment, the most prominent symptom of a midlife crisis. Not a cause, a symptom. Alright, so share the video if you're having a midlife crisis and you're trying to get somebody or people to understand what the heck is going on with you, why you're no longer involved with things you were involved with before, or why suddenly you become involved with things you never were involved with before, or whatever. Share the video. Hopefully you can get your people, or at least some of your people, to understand what you're going through or what's happening for you. Click like if you found any of this information informative, and click subscribe. Follow me along, and let's see if we can all survive this midlife crisis.